Starting the edition with some breaking news now coming in. It's day 3 of the Poonch operation and forces are going all out to wipe out coward Pakistani terrorists who have attacked an army vehicle during the anti-terror operations, claiming lives of at least 4 army jawans. In the latest update, Republic has also learned that 2 to 3 terrorists are still active in the area and have been encircled by their forces. Meanwhile, forces have also launched a mega cordon and search operation to flush out terrorists hiding in the forested areas. In fact, what we're going to do right now, give you full details of how exactly there were diversionary tactics that were employed by the Pakistanis. In fact, what you would see that there is a link that is emerging between the operations that were being carried out in Poonch with that of what has happened in Akhnoor. For more on this, I will also be joined in by our reporters on the ground, Arawat and Gursimran, who will be getting us the latest details in terms of the operations that have been carried out so far. On your screens, these are images of the hunt that has been carried out by the Indian Army. Just a quick recap of what we know so far. Remember, this operation actually started sometime on Wednesday late evening when the Indian Army actually received hard intelligence. Now, this was intelligence about the presence of terrorists in the Poonch sector. Just about a day later, around 3:46 in the evening is when the reinforcement was actually being sent to the area where the operation was being carried out. But that's where Indian Army was attacked. In fact, we've lost our jawans. They were killed in action. What you see on the right-hand side of your screen is that gypsy and the 1-ton vehicle that was actually used by the Indian Army for the additional reinforcement that was being used. In fact, these 2 vehicles came under immense fire from the terrorists. On the other hand is the latest images now coming in from the area with regards to the anti-terror ops that have been carried out. We're being told that the Poonch operation, in fact, has now been called off because the situation still remains quite fluid as well as volatile. But the presence of these terrorists, which the Indian Army essentially says that they are going to carry out the operation and ensure that they are flushed out as soon as possible. Let's have our reporters on the screens right now. Arawat and Gursimran both are joining us from the area where the operation has been carried out. First to you, Gursimran, what's the link between what happened in Akhnoor with that of what has transpired so far in Poonch?
Is evident that how Pakistani establishment is abetting the terrorists to push them into the Indian territory. Right now we are in the Akhnoor sector, the same place where the Pakistan's attempt was foiled, and now these troops of the Indian Army, those who have killed 2 Pakistani terrorists, are now carrying out intensified searches in the area. Shavan, as we move along with the Indian Army, you will understand that how densely forested area this is, and it is only 6 in the evening, but it is totally dark, and taking the advantage of this weather, that is the winter conditions, the Pakistani terrorists are trying to sneak into the Indian territory. Today morning, 4 terrorists attempted to sneak into the Indian territory, but that attempt was foiled by the Indian Army, and now intensified searches are on. 2 Pakistani terrorists have been killed, and Pakistani terrorists have been getting the active support of the ISI as well as 3 Punjab regiment that is deployed on the other side of the Chamb, that is just opposite to this area. This is the area of the international border that is manned by the Indian Army, and now the intensified operations are on, Shavan. These operations have started late last night when 2 Pakistani terrorists were neutralized. A group of total 4 terrorists in pair of 2, they attempted to sneak into the Indian territory, and as they move inside the deep forest, we move along with the Indian Army. This is one of the toughest areas, Shavan, when it comes to manning this area, because these grown trees and the forested areas, the sarkandas, they are acting as a supporter, the natural support for the Pakistani terrorists, and that's why it becomes really very challenging. See how difficult it is to pass through these dense forests, and Pakistani terrorists were using these forests to take the help of these natural caves and the dense forested area to sneak into the Indian side. But the Indian troops, they foiled the attempt of the Pakistan, and as we move, the area is getting tougher with each passing minute as you move ahead. But these troops of the Indian Army, this is the same unit that has carried out the operation. These are the same jawans that have killed the Pakistani terrorists, and now since there has been some movement on the other side. Some suspected movement has been detected. Now the troops, they have taken their positions here. Sarjeevan is showing you the regular visuals that how in the adverse of the conditions, Indian Army is not backing off and is carrying out the intensified operation. On the other side, Shravan, it is not more than the 100 meters that the Pakistani terrorist or the Pakistani side is, because from there an attempt was made today morning. It was early morning when the Pakistani side made this attempt. That stands foiled, and now the troops of the Indian Army, they are ensuring that each and every attempt of the Pakistani is foiled. Shravan, it has to be seen that how Pakistan is moving its focus from the line of control in Poonch to the area between the LOC and IB. This is in the Akhnoor sector. The 10 kilometer of the IB is manned by the Indian Army, and this is the same place where Pakistan attempted to drop a drone full of terror consignment some couple of weeks ago. It was a day after the Rajouri encounter in which 5 brave hearts, including 2 of the captains, attained martyrdom, and Pakistan attempted to drop a drone consignment full of IEDs, hand grenades, and also the pistols into the Indian territory. Now you will see that the entire area has been cordoned off by the Indian Army, and they are carrying out the searches of every nook and corner, because this area remains to be very critical and challenging for the Indian Army, because the regular attempt and the intensity of attempt that the Pakistani ISI and 3 Punjab Regiment has done, the active support of 3 Punjab Regiment is giving boost to the Pakistani terrorists, and that's why we have seen that how Pakistan and its proxies, they are making multiple attempts. Now they are entering another area, which is the forested area, and now the troops are moving to that side. So Shravan, tactically these operations are being conducted. These are the toughest operations to conduct, keeping in view that the Pakistani side is some couple of meters from this very place, and they also keep strict watch on what is happening, and they accordingly inform the Pakistani terrorists. You will see that these are the local units of the Indian Army that are well known to the area, and they are ensuring that the attempt of Pakistan to sneak in, taking the advantage of the dense foliage, that can be foiled. And if Sarjeevan can come to this side, and we can show that on the other side, if in case, I'm not very sure that we will be able to show, but that side is the Pakistani side, and from here the Pakistani watchtowers are clearly visible. So this close we are to the line of to the Pakistani side on the international border in the Akhnoor sector, and the troops of the Indian Army, they are making it very sure that Shravan, any attempt of the Pakistan is foiled, and foiled well within the time, because what we have seen that in these kind of areas there have been regular attempts of Pakistan. The Pakistani terrorists use these kind of sarkandas to felicitate the terrorists to those who are trying to sneak in. And as the operation continues, we have been advised to remain in close with the security forces, as the other side continues to mount challenges as they are supporting the terrorists, Shravan, to sneak in into the Indian territory. Yes.
Well, Gursum, just a quick question that I also wanted to take with you with regards to the current situation in Poonch. Has the operation come to a standstill, and what has happened to the status of those terrorists who had managed to cross over? And remember, they were the ones who had opened fire on the reinforcement that was on its way to the operational base. Take us through the latest details.
See, Shravan, if you speak of the operations that are underway in Rajouri, the search is continuing for those terrorists who are still hiding in the area of search operations have been intensified. But when it comes to especially the places where the terrorists could be hiding, the area has been extended, keeping in view the regular attempts of the Pakistani side to mount the pressure, because these terrorists are the ones who are trained in the jungle warfare, and they always attempt to target the security forces. Now, I must tell you that the operations that are on in that very area, those operations, they are tactically being taken, and time is being taken by the security forces, keeping in view the demography of the area, because that is really very important. There have been multiple terror attacks on the security forces. If we speak of this year only, there have been 4 major attacks in which we have lost 19 Jawans. So tactically, the security forces, based on some of the blood trails that they have found, some of the clothes they have found during the search operation, they are carrying out the operation in the Poonch as well, Shravan.
Well, thank you very much, Gursimran, for getting us the latest details. I'll just request you to stay on with us as you also get us live images of the operation that is underway in Akhnoor. That's the closest from the international border from where my colleague Gursimran is reporting. Let me also quickly go across to my colleague Arawat, who's joining us from Rajouri. Arawat, as Gursimran was taking us through the latest details with regards to the Poonch operation, what becomes abundantly clear after 48 hours is that these Pakistani terrorists who were essentially being sent out by the Pakistani army. We have also got details of the kind of support that has come in from the ISI as well as it turns out from the Pakistani army. What more details are you picking up in terms of, one, the movement of these terrorists, the fact that they've managed to escape? What is it that your sources within the Indian army now essentially indicating that how far have they been able to progress in the operation that has been carried out so far?
Yeah, Shaman, it's day 3 and the operation is still underway. You can see there is a movement of some senior officials who are visiting the spot right now, who are on the way. We are right now at the Rajouri's bridge, which connects Deraki Gali with the... we have learned from the sources, these who are coming from Deraki Gali, they was also planning to cross this bridge and enter to Rajouri to create more disturbance. In fact, my VJ can show you some barricades have been placed in the different areas. In fact, some water bodies, if my VJ can show you from the left side, there is a water body that too are being searched now. In fact, the search operation has been extended to other outskirt villages. In fact, we have once again seen how ISI had tried to create disturbance in Kashmir Valley through the Pakistan-based terrorists. We have seen yesterday how Pakistan-backed terrorism group have targeted Indian Army Jawans, in which 4 Jawans have lost their life. In fact, they tried to sneak another infiltration bid from the Akhnoor sector, but our security forces have neutralized the 2 terrorists so far, and the both operations is right now going on. In fact, you can see here, my Vijay Mubashir can show you the visuals. CCTV cameras have been also established here to check the wiggle of the traffic movement. In fact, you can see here there is a deployment of special forces also in the Akhnoor and here at the Rajouri operation. You can see here in visuals, SOG persons of Jammu and Kashmir police are completely checking the identity of the civilians who are trying to cross this bridge. In fact, the public movement have been suspended for some time yesterday on this bridge, but now you can see here in the visuals, traffic movement is being allowed now, but the massive search operation is underway right now. In fact, you can see here how Jammu and Kashmir police Jawans are here and they have been deployed. In fact, my VJ can show you these are the multiple CCTV cameras that have been already placed here in the Rajouri market. In fact, completely public places are being also watched closely. If we'll talk about today's Akhnoor operation, as intelligence-based agencies have already alerted that 250 to 300 terrorists are at launching pads. They try to infiltrate before the January of next year. After that, the massive search operation have been launched and our security forces have foiled the attempt in Akhnoor. And right now, the massive search operation underway here at the Rajouri. Yashavan.
Right. Well, Rawat, I'll just request you to stay on with us as we're getting at more details with regards to how exactly the infiltration attempt that was made. Ladies and gentlemen, Republic TV got you full details of the tactical change that was brought in by the Pakistanis. All this while, before the 2016 surgical strikes that were carried out, most of the areas across the border would have specific launch pads. Now it turns out these launch pads have been completely converted. In fact, it turns out that these are civilian houses that are being used. Now, let's also take a look at how this infiltration that was basically carried out. Now, the latest coming in from Akhnoor, where the terrorists were neutralized by the Indian Army. It turns out the ISI and 3rd Punjab Regiment of the Pakistani Army essentially helped the terrorists making that attempt of infiltration in Akhnoor area. Let me just quickly go across to my colleague Gursimran, who's joining us on this broadcast, getting us the latest details. In fact, it's the ISI and 3rd Punjab Regiment behind it. Gursimran.
And
Gursimran,
we
if
are
you
in
can hear me.
the dense areas where these operations are underway. Here, the Indian army has to actually crawl to enter the other side. What is happening that there are some of the areas where you cannot go because on the other side is the Pakistani side, the 3 Punjab, that is keeping a strict vigil on each and every development, and that's why the Indian army troops have to actually crawl. If I can request the Sarjeevan to show you that how these troops of the Indian army, they actually crawl to go to the other side and to keep a strict vigil on what is happening on the other side. So these are one of the tactically tough operations, and as you mentioned that how the ISI and the 3 Punjab regiment, that is just opposite to this on the Champ side, they are helping the security, the Pakistani terrorists to sneak into the Indian territory, because these two, the ISI has their clear role that they actually control the population that is living there, and the second thing that is very important is the role of 3 Punjab that has been deployed by the Pakistani side. On the other side, they are clearly abetting the terrorists to sneak into the Indian side, and these terrorists, the 3 Punjab, they are actively supporting them, not only with the support that includes helping them to sneak into the Indian territory, but also today morning we have seen that how the forest was set on fire by the Pakistani side. The reason was that they want to divert the attention of the Indian army and then to push the terrorists into the Indian side. So the active involvement of the Pakistani army, the 3 Punjab regiment, and also the ISI has been exposed as Indian army has foiled, Shavan, a major attempt of 4 terrorists infiltrating into the Indian side. Shavan, as you have seen in the recent past, how these operations are being intensified.
Well, thank you very much, Gursimran and Rawat, for getting us the latest details. I'll still request both of you to stay on with us while we play out a report that was sent in by my colleague Gursimran. Now, remember, Republic crew has been on the ground tracking the operation. Here is an exclusive report that has been filed from the site of the operation. In fact, this comes in from Akhnoor, which obviously is turning out to be yet another diversionary tactic that was employed by the Pakistanis. Take a look at this exclusive report.
This is really a tough terrain to operate on, and now the intensified operations have been extended to the area of 5 to 7 kilometers. This is the area that was searched earlier by the Jammu and Kashmir police along with the Indian army, but now the agencies suspect that the terrorists may try to break the corner and move to the outer areas, and that's why the area of operations have been intensified. I'll request if Gaurav can show you the deployment of the Jammu and Kashmir police and the roads that are leading to that very area. They have been now barred from entry. The Indian army along with the Jammu and Kashmir police, they are carrying out the intensified operations, and this is the one of the entrance point. This connects to the Dera Ki Gali area. From Poonch to Akhnoor, Indian Army is carrying out relentless operation to wipe out terrorism. In a big success, Indian Army has neutralized 2 Pakistani terrorists which were part of a 4 terrorist group that was trying to infiltrate in the core area of the Akhnoor sector. The group attempted to enter the Indian territory late last night, taking the advantage of the dense foliage and the darkness of the night, but that attempt has been foiled by the allied troops of the Indian Army. These are the troops in the Akhnoor sector that have foiled the attempt of the Pakistani terrorists. Equipped with the state-of-art weapons, these troops of the Indian Army, they saw the movement of the Pakistani terrorists that were moving in pairs, and then they intercepted them. 2 terrorists were shot, and then the search operations were launched. 2 terrorists have been killed in the operation so far, and 2 terrorists, those who got injured, they dragged the bodies of other 2 back to the Pakistan territory. The K9 squad of the Indian Army, that is the dog squad, that has also played a key role in when it comes to carrying out the operation in this very area. This is tactically one of the challenging areas when it comes to, this is between the international border and the line of control. The 10-kilometer IB that the Indian Army guards actually is the toughest area, and there has been earlier also multiple attempts by the Pakistani side to push weapons via drones, IEDs, grenades, and now all these attempts after foiling, the frustrated Pakistan is pushing terrorists into the Indian territory at a time when intensified operations were underway in Poonch and Rajouri, Pakistan attempted to push terrorists here. The diversionary tactics that the Pakistan used to set the forested area on fire so as to divert the Indian army and then to facilitate the infiltration of the terrorists, that has now been foiled, and the search operations continue so as to foil each and every attempt of the Pakistani terrorists who are trying to sneak in. If we speak of the operations that have been carried out this year so far, 15 terrorists have been neutralized on the line of control and the international border by the Indian army, 13 in the hinterland, and this shows the magnitude of the Pakistan's, that how rattled Pakistan is by that it is pushing more and more trained terrorists into the Indian territory. What we are getting to know that the Pakistan is now pushing the jungle warfare trained terrorists into the Indian territory so that they can inflict maximum casualties to the security forces. But these brave hearts of the Indian army have foiled the nefarious plots of the enemy and have neutralized 2 terrorists while injuring 2 others, and the operation is still on in the area. With Sarjeevan Kumar, Gursimran Singh for Republic Media Network.
Focused now to the other story that we are tracking very closely. This is regarding a drone strike that has damaged a merchant ship off the coast of India, but no casualties that have been reported so far. Now, one of the vessels is an Israel-affiliated merchant ship which is struck by the unmanned drone, causing a fire within the vessel in the Arabian Sea of India's west coast. In the latest update, Indian Navy's P-8I maritime surveillance aircraft has established communication with the distressed vessel MV Chem Pluto after taking off from INS Hansa Naval Air Base in Goa. Indian Navy warship is moving towards the vessel and is expected to reach the merchant ship in the next few hours. What you see on your screens, that's the location that we've been able to pinpoint as far as the distress signal that essentially came in. What we are being told right now is that Indian Navy's maritime surveillance aircraft is on its way. These are the latest details that we are getting in. As more details come in, we'll keep you posted. But that's all that we could pack in this edition of This is Exclusive. On the other side, news and updates continue. Before that, we just also quickly take you through some more details that are coming in with regards to the Indian Navy now sending across the maritime surveillance aircraft. What we are also being told is with regards to the fact that so far there have been no casualties that have been reported, and that's the reason why they say that perhaps they would be in a position to rescue all the crew members as soon as possible.